My name is Peter Greenlaw. You can see there, are you really tired of the diet merry-go-round? Isn't it about time that somebody somehow came up with something that actually is real? Well, we're here today to share with you 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies that absolutely are going to change everything you've ever thought about diet, exercise, and nutrition. As you can see behind me, I'm the author of 4, I'm not telling you this to impress you, but I wanted to have a context for you. I've written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. I did 20 shows on PBS. I've been interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America and did over 1,500 live lectures all over the world, including in China. I pioneered and discovered a medical syndrome, which is my second book, called the TDOS syndrome, which I have, you have, every person on the planet. Essentially, whether you know it or not, we're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals that our body is storing in our fat cells. And one of the things in these new studies that they did, weight loss was unbelievable. You can see it there. I mean, people really did lose as much weight in basically 30 days. It took months, almost a year, for people to lose that much weight on diets without the loss of lean muscle mass. Umi in Africa. Umi, Africa. I wonder if you're really in Africa. I'm just curious. Fried frigs. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce. You went away anyway. Okay, so whatever. But for everybody, our whole point today is that finally there's real medical proof of a major medical breakthrough where men and women literally lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. So hopefully. Oh, okay, that's very unusual. Huh. Because I have had Judy Meyer, welcome Daniel. Because Umi, I have had people from Uganda and whatever. We get people from all over the world on these. It's becoming more and more popular because we are the only one in the world. You can see right there the New Health Conversation Visit. That's our free medical website. There's nothing to buy there. My books aren't for sale. It's just the medical proof. So effectively, Umi and Daniel and Judy, what we're going to talk about today is are you sick and tired of the diet merry-go-round? Isn't it making you dizzy? I assume, I'd love for anybody to put in the chat, most people that come to us have tried everything, nothing has ever worked, and I'm holding in my hand 7 peer-reviewed new medical studies that were published in the last year that will obsolete every diet out there. And I can say that with conviction. We're the only influence. We don't give you opinions. We give you original research that we've done in writing our books. We've worked with some of the top medical doctors, oncologists, molecular biologists, geneticists, nutraceutical chemists, researchers, and physiologists in the world. Nothing we share with you is an opinion. There's plenty of people on social media for you if you want an opinion. But can you imagine how excited would you be, men and women with no exercise? You lose as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on. You can lose as much weight in a month that take you up to a year on any of the diets without the loss of water and, and gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. And that's just the start. The main things here are the improvements in health for people. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all came down dramatically just in 30 days. People's hunger came down by 41% in a month. And in 8 weeks, people shrank their visceral fat, some people call it the belly fat, around our organs by 33%. There is no equivalent to this. The researchers who discovered this, they don't sell anything, they don't have a company, they're scientists. But for 38 years, they've conducted over 100 studies, thousands of people on every diet out there. And the reason we talk about the merry-go-round, do you want to get off it now? Or do you want to continue to follow the influencers, with all due respect? But what they're telling you is completely outdated. It doesn't work. Listen, we have 80% of America overweight, 50% are obese, 50% are pre-diabetic, 33% of our teens are pre-diabetic. Does anyone really believe that diets work? I'd love for anyone to put in the chat, oh, my son gave it to me. I'm an American. Huh, that's very unusual. And you can imagine the number of people that come on here. I see a lot of names, and that's why I was saying that, but that's the first time I've ever seen that. So Judy, Angela, user 788, this podcast is the only one like it on, at least that I'm aware of. Now, I can be wrong. I can't know everything, of course. But all the other podcasts that I look at across social media, they're giving you opinions. They're not giving you any medical proof, no medical facts. Because here's the point. What they're telling you to do, I'm going to prove it to you today, they just don't work. And we're going to share with you, let's go back. Let me ask any of you, the women on here, for example, How excited would you be if you could lose a whole dress size in 7 days with no exercise? Because the researchers didn't let anybody exercise because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. This is not a diet. It's like nothing you've ever done before. So let's look at some medical proof first to blow up some myths before I share with you what they did. Because you need to understand the basis really of all diets first. Maybe you kind of know, but I'm going to take a little bit deeper dive, right? Well, let's start out first with Harvard Medical School. I have this report right here. Stop counting calories. They said, most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories, specifically 3,500, and you'll lose a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that the decades-old strategy is actually totally misguided. They go on to say, this idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. She goes on to say, drop the calories notion. Instead, concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food you're consuming. So that's the first study. Now let's read another report. Why you shouldn't count calories. Remember, I'm not giving you any opinions. I'm giving you medical facts, okay? Listen to this. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse is 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories gain back more weight than they lost. So you're going on a diet. Here's the thing. You'll lose weight on any diet out there. It doesn't matter. But they're saying, and the proof is that the people that go on diet, 2/3 of them end up weighing more than when they started. Why go on a diet in the first place? No wonder people are discouraged. No wonder people throw their hands up in the air. No wonder we get so much pushback and skepticism. This is not just one of those other things. This is your chance to get off the diet merry-go-round. Now. Like now. Again, we have the medical proof here that the least important part of this, although imagine men and women with no exercise losing as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of dieting, losing as much weight in 30 days as literally in a year of diets with no loss of water and gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. But the main gains were in an area that you probably aren't familiar with. My second book, the title of which, this is a new medical syndrome. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. In case you don't know, in the medical world, to get a registered trademark, the U.S. Patent Office, you submit your research to them. They search the entire world. Is there anything similar? Because when they grant you the little R, that gives you the legal protection that nobody can copy your intellectual property. So what does TDOS stand for? T for toxicity, D for deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. I have it, you have it, every person in the world. We're drinking, we're breathing, we're eating chemicals, and the body is taking those chemicals and stuffing it inside our fat. Well, basically the belly fat, the visceral fat. That's why people complain to me all the time. It's not just how much weight they gained, but how much physical fat they have on their bodies. Every diet out there, the main thing you're losing is lean muscle mass, up to 40%. I don't care what diet you think you're on, you're losing lean muscle. Now let's go into diets. Why are they? My first book, which I wrote in 2010, a big bestseller, and our premise was, why are we counting calories? The human body doesn't know what a calorie is. A calorie is just a measurement. It's the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius, nothing less and nothing more. Well, we got huge pushback from people saying, well, of course, the only way to lose weight is to lower calories. Well, now we got Harvard Medical School kind of absolutely agreeing on what I wrote about 14 years ago. So here's the doubt. Here's what a diet is. Let's go back to a minimum sort of approach. The body works on nutrition. It doesn't work on calories. It doesn't know what a calorie is. Why you're counting calories, I have no idea. So what happens when you basically go on a diet, you consume less food. Hello, Hannah. Are you tired of the diet merry-go-round? Would you like to get off? Are you exhausted by going on these diets that absolutely don't work in the long run over and over and over again? What we've been talking about is there are 7 new. Hello, Denise. Denise, also, are you tired? And Philip and Lero, are you tired of the diet merry-go-round? Do you want to get off now? We're going to show you medical proof today of a major breakthrough. I have 7 medical studies, peer-reviewed on human beings, trials, where men and women literally lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet, lost as much weight in a month as a year on diets, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. And that was the least important part of what happened. They lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all in 30 days. Inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there, it came down 25% in 30 days. Now, keep in mind, none of these people were allowed to exercise, and yet they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. I know you're skeptical. I know this pushback. I do this. I do 3 or 4 of these live podcasts a day, and you're all following these influencers. Some of them have millions of followers. But what they're telling you is completely wrong. It doesn't work. We have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does anyone think diets work? A third, 33% of our kids are pre-diabetic now. I mean, honestly, what are we doing? And I don't fault the influences telling, but can anyone name a diet that's not, you've been drilled into our heads? The only way to lose weight is to lower calories. Wrong. No, has nothing to do with it. The human body doesn't know what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. Only thing the body cares about is nutrition. Here's the fatal Achilles heel of all diets. We have a minimum amount of nutrition that we need in our body in order for the brain to realize, okay, there's enough fuel for all the organs, the brain, the heart, the kidneys, the liver, the pancreas, etc. When you go on a diet, all you're actually doing is lowering the amount of food you're consuming. And as you lower that amount of food, what happens to you is that you end up slowing down your metabolism. That's why you gain everything back on any of these diets that you've ever been on, period, end of the story, not up for debate. Now, the point is that any of you, I mean, we've got 80% of America overweight. There have to be some people out there that are curious about, I mean, otherwise you just want to stay on the merry-go-round, the weight loss merry-go-round that doesn't work. It's never worked. It won't work. It can't work. Hello, Scott. Hello, Gnosis. Again, are any of you tired of the diet merry-go-round? Do you want to keep doing this stuff that doesn't work? Because it doesn't work. There's no way on earth that it works. And yet here we are. We're in a position that people are thinking that somehow diets are working, but they're not. They're absolutely not. So let's see, what else are they saying here? Yeah. So Kelly's, I see Kelly's on. So Kelly's, are you sick and are you tired of the diet merry-go-round? Do you want to get off? Because we're the only ones with real medical proof now in human beings in these major medical studies. The research took them 38 years to figure out that diets just don't work. They produce such results, you can read it there. Men and women lost as much weight in 7 days, Kelly's, as in 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on. They lost as much weight in 30 days as a year on any diet. They lost no water, and instead of losing lean muscle, which is the case on every diet out there, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Most women lose a whole dress size in 7 days. Most men will lose up to 4 inches off their waist in a week. No one was allowed to exercise. So let me be clear to everybody, okay? So if you're tired of the diet merry-go-round, then maybe you want to get off now or stay on it. Follow these diets, whether it's paleo or keto or time-restricted eating or Jenny Craig or weight. They don't work. We have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic, 33% of our kids are pre-diabetic. Honestly, do any of you think this works? I'd love for you to put in the chat. Give me a diet that works. I've got all the medical studies. I have them here where they looked at all these diets. Let's go to the New England Journal of Medicine, 12-month study on one group of people lowering calories. The other group of people did this time-restricted eating, which is a big rage now. You don't eat for 16 hours, you eat for 8. I'll come back to that in a moment and show you why it's so unhealthy. So after 12 months of lowering calories, the average weight loss in a year was 16 pounds. And for the people that did time-restricted eating, it was 12.6 pounds in a year. That's in 12 months. They went on to say both the people lowering calories and those doing time-restricted eating, you don't eat for 16 hours, you eat for 8, called intermittent fasting, they all lost up to 40% of the lean muscle mass. I don't care what diet you'll put up there, that's what you end up losing. And these researchers who created this, I mean, again, aren't you a little bit curious? I mean, how in the world could you lose it? I mean, how much would it excite you to lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of a diet and have it be safe and have it be good weight loss? Because the weight you're losing on any of these diets is so unbelievably unhealthy. See, when you get in a position where your body doesn't have enough fuel. The brain freaks out, goes in starvation mode, forces you to stop burning fat, and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's a physiological fact. That's what's going on all these diets. Well, then, because there's still not enough fuel, what does the brain do? It slows down our metabolism. We have no control over that. But the other thing it's doing to you, by the way, not for you, it also interferes with our own immune system's efficiency. So imagine you're going on a diet, you fit in your skinny jeans, you're making yourself unhealthy. Do you get it? Do you see what's going on? Let alone you're miserable, you're tired, you're irritable, whatever, being on the diet. Why? Because you're starving yourself. It's called catabolic metabolism. I mean, again, what's so unbelievable to me is that people are still, despite the fact that 80% of Americans are overweight and 50% are obese, Dreamer, they keep believing. Yeah, JD, welcome. They keep believing somehow. Hi, John Cross. That again, John, are you tired of the diet merry-go-round? Are you ready to get off? Because what we're going to share with you today is only medical proof. These researchers, they're the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They've now published, they haven't, but they've got published in 7 major medical journals done on peer-reviewed human trial studies. Men and women really lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet, lost as much weight in a month as a year on any diet, lost no water, gained 6 to 9, but we have the medical proof. It's not an opinion, it's not a claim. It's the only weight loss program in the world ever with peer-reviewed human trial studies. Peer-reviewed human trial studies are what they use for all the drugs. And I know sometimes they make a mistake, but it's the highest you can go in scientific. No paleo, keto, Mediterranean, Jenny Craig, wait, well, they don't have peer-reviewed human trial studies. They have opinions. They got fancy ads. You see the people on the social media writing on the boards, and they got all the titles. They have no solution. They have no solution. Hello, Dr. Love. I mean, Dr. Love, can you even fathom that I have them in my hand, 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies where men and women were not allowed to exercise, and yet they lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet, lost as much weight in a month as a year on any diet, lost no water weight at all, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, and it's not even a diet. These researchers, they're considered the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world for 38 years. They're the ones that came up with this. After 38 years, you know what they did? They figured out what didn't work. Thanks, boosted. Okay. So the whole point behind this is if you're tired of the diet merry-go-round and you want to get off, there's a free website. I'm going to post it again for everybody. It's called The New Health Conversation. You can also see it up there in the blue above my head. Visit The New Health Conversation. It's a free website. There's nothing. If you go there, we won't contact you. We don't need to. We want to give you the medical proof that you can see first. But here's the thing. We don't trick you. If you go to that website, we're not going to call you. There's no books to buy. There's no celebrity endorsements. There's just the scientific medical proof. And if you like what you see, you can sign up for a free, and I mean free, personal consultation with one of our coaches. I realize the biggest challenge is your skepticism. And I want to support that. But we're not another one of just those things. There's nothing else like this on the planet. You know, we had a doctor in before and they get off because they can't believe it's real. They can't believe that there's something like this. Well, it took 38 years, over 100 studies, thousands of people, when these researchers figured out what didn't work. You know what didn't work? Any diet, no matter what, people lost weight. But every time on every diet, people lost up to 40% of their lean muscle. It slowed down their metabolism, and they gained back all their weight or more. So what did they do? Thanks for saying in there, Dreamer, with me. Here's what they did. They figured out that the old approach they had was to lower the amount of food that people consume. That's any diet out there. But what they realized when they were doing that, they were also lowering nutrition. And when the brain senses there's not enough nutrition, it goes in starvation mode, prevents you from burning fat, it begins to burn your muscles, slowing down your metabolism, and you gain everything back. So here was what they did. The theory was, could we create a new system where we lower the quantity of the food, but actually increased the nutrition? Well, they didn't know if it was going to work, but the theory was Let's limit the amount of food people get from North America. So you actually get a grocery list you can take to the grocery store, okay? And those foods are about 30 to 40% of what you would consume in a month. That's it, no more. Because our food in this country is becoming more and more nutritionally insufficient, meaning, yes, it has nutrients, but the nutrients have nosedived in the quantity, right? So what they did to solve that, they had found other fulfillment companies, let's call them suppliers, who had gone around the world, not something you can buy at your local grocery store, and found food sources from Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, that had massive amounts of nutrition, not massive amounts of quantity. So the idea was they put people on this protocol. 40% of what the people consume, they bought at their local grocery store. The other 60% from these 5 foods around the world. 2 things you need to know. Number 1, the researchers, they don't sell you anything. The researchers, they don't have a company. They're scientists, okay? You don't buy any of the food from me or from us. The suppliers who supply the 5 foods to this protocol, they offer you, not us, they give you 100% money back guarantee if this doesn't work for you in the first 30 days, okay? But keep in mind, those are just the ingredients. Now we need what? A recipe. So they created a brand new way of consuming food. The first one was called protein pacing, where 5 days a week they had these 5 foods for breakfast. Lunch came from the grocery store, dinner came from the grocery store. Then they had you have a 4th meal, unheard of on diets, a 4th meal after dinner of these 5 foods. That was 5 days a week. 2 days a week, they did something, listen to me carefully, intermittent nutritional fasting, not intermittent fasting, not time restricted eating, nothing to do with that. On those days, they had them only consume the 5 foods from around the world, nothing from the grocery store. They had them have a meal about every 2 or 3 hours, spread out over about 12 or 14 hours over the course of the day. Again, it was still a theory, but they were so shocked. In the first 4 days, most people experienced weight loss that had taken them on any diet they'd ever studied. The researchers, about 4 weeks. At the end of 1 week, at the end of 7 days, people had lost as much weight as in 8 weeks of any diet they'd ever studied in 38 years in 100 studies. Then, in a month, people ended up losing as much weight as a year on most of the diets they'd ever studied with no loss of water and gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Like I said, I repeated, most women lose a whole dress size in 7 days. Most men lose 4 inches, 2 to 4 inches off their waist. And remember, no one was allowed to exercise. Nobody. Because the researchers didn't want exercise to be an outlier, so they made them wear the equivalent of a Fitbit to measure the amount of calories that they were burning in a week. I know it sounds like science fiction. I know you can't wrap your mind around it, because you're so used to the diets that fail all of us long term, with 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. And I have a report here from Johns Hopkins Medical School. They just study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. In 5.5 years, they estimate 86% of America is going to be overweight or obese. Do you understand it's getting worse? Do you know in 2008, about 60% of America was overweight or obese? So we're talking 22 years later, it's going to go from about 60% to nearly 90%, 86. Well, so it's like 45% increase in that time period. And what do? We have more diets than ever. I don't want you to believe me, but look at the scientific proof. And then we have things like this report comes out. Between 2012 and 2022, the rate of type 2 diabetes has increased by 20%, according to studies released in Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism. This is what's happening to us. And what are we doing? We're following paleo, keto, Mediterranean. I mean, it's a worn out record. It's the diet merry-go-round. You did paleo, it didn't work, so now I'm going to do keto. Oh, this new, well, I'm not going to eat for 16 hours, I'm going to eat for 8. Really? None of them work. None. All you're going to do is make yourself miserable. No, you'll be excited at first because you will lose weight on any of these diets. But understand that the weight you're losing is the most unhealthy weight you could lose. It's your lean muscle, which the first part is it slows your metabolism down. So you come off that diet, that's why you gain all the weight back. But the worst part is, to make you even unhealthier, is as you lose lean muscle on all diets, you slow down your own metabolism, you interfere with your own immune system. So these diets are doing, they're doing something, they're not doing something for you, they're doing something to you. And yet, And I see the influencers. Some of them have 10 million followers, and they're chiropractors, and they're medical doctors, and they're weight loss coaches, and they're fitness people, and nothing against them, and dietitians, nutrition. They have it completely wrong. Sorry to tell you. I mean, when Harvard Medical School, when they come out with this article and say, stop counting calories, most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories, specifically 3,500, and you lose a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is actually pretty misguided. They went on to say, this idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, says Stanford. It's time to take a different approach by concentrating on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. That's exactly what these researchers did. Now, they couldn't accomplish it even with organic food in this country. So they limited people, only 40% of the food they consumed came from North American sources. And the other 5 foods, which I said before, were these, let's call them suppliers, they're fulfillment companies, who had gone around the world over the last 25 years to places like Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to bring back 5 foods that had tremendous amounts of nutrition at massive levels. See, one of the things we're the most deficient in this country, even if you're going to tell me, I do whole foods and I do organic, congratulations. But here's the sad reality. One of the things we need most in our body are called trace ionic minerals, okay? There are 70 that we need according to the experts. In the best organic you're buying, if you go out today, you're going to get 20. So it doesn't matter how much food you're consuming, you're still only getting those same 20, but you need 70. So the other 50 you're not getting. So it'd be like your car with 8 cylinders. You unplug 6 of them. Yeah, it'll probably still run, but really horribly. See, we're all settling for less than lifestyles. We think, oh, I really feel good. No, you don't. You have, with all due respect, you have no idea how bad you actually feel right now because you don't understand how good you can feel. This is not a diet. It has nothing to do with it. The weight loss is a throw-in. That's like we're just so used to that. But the medical changes in people in blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides came down dramatically in 30 days. And for the first time ever, no diets ever produced this. They proved that this lowered inflammation by 25% in 30 days. The main reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's a throw-in. The main reason to do this is to deal with this medical syndrome that I have, you have, every person in the world now has. What's TDOS stand for? T is for toxicity, D for deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office recognizes a new medical syndrome. This is a huge deal. Do you know we didn't even know we were storing chemicals in our body till Mount Sinai Medical School in late 2005 did the first study on humans and was shocked to find that we were storing chemicals inside our body? But worse than that, they did a study about 6 years ago on newborn infants. And they looked at their cord blood at birth, and every baby they tested was coming in the world with around 287 toxic chemicals in their blood at birth. If those newborn infants are that many toxins, how many do you think we have? Well, in the studies, that was one of the things that was so great about it. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and proved that this was assisting the body in doing what? Removing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and plastics from the body. No diet has ever touched that. And again, we're not here to talk you out of anything. We don't need to do that. We don't want to convince people. We don't want to sell people. The reason we provided you with the free website, you can see it down there. I'll post it again. There you can see it, the New Health Conversation, is we wanted you to have a safe, free place to go where you could go and see the medical proof, not hyperbole, not Peter Greenlaw's opinion, but the real medical proof. And then on top of that, if you like what you see, because we won't contact you if you go to our website, be clear. But if you scroll down, you can sign up for what's called a free personal consultation with one of our coaches. Our coaches have done the program and been trained to explain any of the questions. The coaching's free, not just the initial consultation, but they'll follow you the whole time you're doing this until you get to your goal. See, this program is called R2M, Race to Maintenance. Now, what differs from it, when you get to your goal, you're at the end of the beginning. Because the thing that we teach you most is how to maintain the success that you've had. I lost 40 pounds 21 years ago. I've kept it off for 21 years. That's what you should, if you want to get off that otherwise you go on a diet, temporarily you get off the merry-go-round. Oh, I think I'm going to take another ride, but I'm going to do it with paleo this time because keto, I didn't like the keto horse. Do you get the analogy? You got to understand. Well, I mean, John Hopkins Medical School predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030, that 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. I mean, do you see what's going on? We're basically defining the definition of insanity. Again, I'd love for anybody to put in the chat a diet they think works, or what your challenges are, or what you'd like to do, or what you're not doing, or what you're thinking about doing, etc. Tired of the diet merry-go-round? Get off now, or not, or stay on. But the medical evidence is overwhelming. These diets do not work long-term, period. So, I mean, the point is that you all have an amazing opportunity, if you want, to find out, how did they do this? How did men and women lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet? How did they lose as much weight in a month as a year in any diet without losing any water and gaining, not losing lean muscle, 6 to 9%? And that's the least important reason to do it. The most important reason is to assist your own body in removing the toxic chemicals we're storing inside of us. I mean, I don't know what to tell you other than the fact that for the first time ever, there are now 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies published in some of the biggest medical journals in the world that are validating what I'm saying. It's not my research. Excuse me, I'm not the researcher. I'm the researcher of the researchers. I don't know what else to say, but either you're tired of the merry-go-round, or you're not, or you want to just stay on there, or you want to hold on to this belief. Maybe you're halfway through paleo or keto, or you're doing this time-restricted eating. You don't eat for 16 hours and you eat for 8. But the problem with that now is the medical evidence. For example, just to give you an idea, study after study is showing. I'm going to read to you about, for example, this time-restricted eating, which is a big rage right now. This is the first study that I want to read from. It's from the Journal of the American Medical Association. Keep in mind, these are not our opinions. I don't have anything against time-restricted eating, but you may reconsider. In the new research done in the Journal of the American Medical Association, they found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily, eating all their meals between 12 noon and 8 p.m., popularly known as the 16-8 diet, gained almost no benefit from it. And over the course of 3 months, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds. And most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. To my point, every diet out there that's being studied, the majority of what you're losing is lean muscle mass. That's called catabolic metabolism, by the way. And 2 of the most unhealthy things happen to you as a result of losing lean muscle, which you do on every diet out there. Number 1, it slows your metabolism down. Now you're in a dilemma. Yeah, you've lost weight, but the minute you stop, that weight comes rushing back way faster than you lost it, okay? But the other thing it's doing by losing lean muscle mass, it's also interfering or diminishing the effectiveness of your own immune system. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound very good to me. I mean, if we've learned anything in the last few years, is the immune system is pretty darn important. So that is one study. Now let's go to a study in the Annals of Internal Medicine on intermittent time-restricted eating. This was a 12-month study where the weight loss up to 12 months by time-restricted eating was 10 pounds. That's in a year. Again, if that's not enough evidence, now let's go to New England Journal of Medicine. They did a study with people that lowered calories, definition pretty much every diet out there, and another group that did time-restricted eating for 12 months. After 12 months, the people who lowered calories lost in a year 16 pounds. The people who did time-restricted eating ended up losing only 12.6 pounds in a year, in 12 months. And they said both the people lowering calories and those doing time-restricted eating lost up to 40%, or up to 40% of the weight they lost was lean muscle mass. This is what's going on. You don't have to believe it. You can have your own set of facts. You can have but your opinion is not a fact. That's the problem. And all these researchers that you're seeing on social media that are, they can't get you off the diet merry-go-round. I mean, temporarily you're off for maybe a few weeks or a month, and then you gain all the weight back, and now you look for a new diet. This is not a joke. I mean, are you tired of being on the diet merry-go-round? I'd love for any of you to put it in the chat. Versus, imagine, this is medical proof that it's safe, that you can lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of a diet. You can lose as much weight as a month, as a year on any diet, lose no water, and gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass and lower blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all in 30 days. Lower inflammation for the first time ever in any study ever done by 25% in 30 days. Lowered hunger. Hunger in the people came down 41% in a month. In 8 weeks, they shrank their visceral fat, that's the fat around the organs, by 33% in 8 weeks with no exercise. They actually had them wear Fitbits. Now you might say, well, how come? Because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier, if that makes sense. They didn't want that to be an influence. So the numbers, they said, well, of course they did diet and exercise. That's why they lost weight. The last reason to do this is to lose weight. Even though I know for everybody that's really exciting, because you stand on that scale, even after 4 days and you've lost typically as much weight as in a month of any diet. I know it sounds crazy. I know you just think that I'm a crazy person. No, I'm not. I'm a researcher. And it doesn't matter about me. The only thing that matters is what's on our website that you can go to for free. So let me show all of you. I want to show you the website so you know I'm not making it up. On the website, there's nothing to buy. There's no books, there's no celebrity endorsements. It's just the scientific proof. And if you go there and really take a hard look and you like what you see, because we're not going to contact you, you can sign up for a free, and I mean free, personal consultation with one of our coaches who's done the protocol and been trained by, not somebody an 800 number that's, got a check sheet and they're checking off, oh, there's a recipe. This isn't about recipe. This is a completely different approach that the researchers believe now. They're the top, again, not me, but would you listen to the top weight loss, nutrition, physiologists in the entire world for 38 years that conducted 100 studies? Or do you want to listen to some influencer on social media, with all due respect, that's showing you no medical proof at all? These research, they analyzed every diet, almost every diet on the planet. People always lost weight, but they always gained it all back because they lost up to 40% was their lean muscle mass. We're like this, we're like in the Twilight Zone or something. I mean, go to Walmart, go to Kmart, go to Costco. Look at a picture of people on the beach in 1970, and now look at now. I feel horrible. My mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy, and I loved her. And I went through that whole fat shaming thing, which is unbelievably horrible. I'm on your side. We're here to give you the opportunity to do something my mom never got to do. You see, she called me up 23 years ago and said to me, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, well, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. I miss my mom a lot. I mean, she was awesome. It didn't matter to me, but it mattered to her when little kids would whisper and they'd giggle and point at her and whatever. I lived through all that. So I'm 1,000,000% on your side. We're here to help you, not to disparage anybody. Even the people that are, I think they mean well, all these influences that you're seeing, but they have no solution. You have to understand that. They have nothing like this. They have nothing that works. They have nothing. Oh, it works short term. But how many of you have ever gone on a diet and have actually been able to maintain what you lost for any length of time? But I don't even rely on anecdotal stories. I mean, we rely on the medical science, and study after study after study proves that we're failing miserably. That was, my first book, Why Diets Are Failing Us, which, by the way, is not for sale on the website. I don't want you to buy my books. The reason we created the website was to give you the most current, up-to-date medical proof of exactly what I'm saying to all of you. Tired of the diet merry-go-round? Get off now or not. I understand that people get so locked in because they really want desperately, but I just wonder if in their psyche, if they really believe that the diet they're going on, they're going to do, they're probably going to lose some weight. How much? How long? But then how do they maintain it? This protocol, which the researchers called R2M, race to maintenance, it's not about getting you to your goal. That's not even an issue. That's like the end of the beginning. And so, hi Tyrese. So the end of the beginning is based on getting to your goal and then teaching you how to stay there. I mean, I lost 40 pounds 21 years ago. I've kept it off for 21 years. That should be your goal. But keep in mind, it's also the medical improvements that we see, like blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, that last, that are long standing. I mean, again, I challenge any of you to put in the comments, anybody, hey, Tyrese, put in the comments a diet that you think works long term. And then I'll show you the medical evidence that probably will show you why it's, look, as of this podcast, if you're on it right now, all diets are obsolete. They don't work, okay? I mean, when we have here's a big article, why you shouldn't count calories. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. They go on to say what's even worse is 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories gain back more weight than they lost. So for any of you, why are you going on a diet? I mean, you understand based on that, you'd be better off don't go on a diet at all. You're going to end up weighing more than you do now, and you're doing really unhealthy things to yourself. What? Yes. The weight you're losing on these diets, we know based on the medical, not my opinion, 40% is lean muscle. And lean muscle is so important to our health. Not only does it boost our metabolism, but it also supports our immune system. How many of you knew that? And then let's talk about this. Every one of you, including me, you all have this medical syndrome called TDOS, stands for toxicity driven by nutritional deficiency, overweight, and stress. We're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals, and the body's taking the chemicals and stuffing them in the visceral fat. Some people call it the belly fat, but it's really the fat, the inner fat around the organs. And for the first time ever, like I said, I'm holding in my hand 7 peer-reviewed medical human trial studies. Nobody else has them. The only studies that have been done on other diets were not done by like paleo didn't do a peer-reviewed human trial study. Somebody else did. Because again, how excited would you be about going on, like I read that one study before, that Annals of Internal Medicine, after 12 months of time-restricted eating, the average weight loss was 10 pounds in a year. Now, in the New England Journal of Medicine, they did a 12-month study on lowering calories, one group of people. The other group of people did time-restricted eating in a year. The people lowering calories in a year only lost 16 pounds. The people that did time-restricted eating, 12.6 pounds in a year. So they did a little better than the people in the Annals of Internal Medicine. But honestly, and most of the weight they found people lost was initially. But once the body figured out you're using your muscles for fuel, it slows down your metabolism. That's why the weight loss stops. Plateau. You've all heard that word. Aren't you just a little bit curious? Unless, do you like riding the merry-go-round, the diet merry-go-round? It's really fun. But is it really time to get off now? You understand that this research that was published, the researchers, they don't sell anything. They don't have a product. They don't have an affiliation. They're just researchers who for 38 years had looked for could they crack the code or find the silver bullet for obesity. They found it. If you go to our website, you can see it there, the New Health Conversation. You can actually see an interview with the #1 nutritionist, weight loss, and physiology researcher in the world, and his team of scientists are the ones who invented this or discovered this. And they basically did it with a real simple principle that all the diets over 38 years, 100 studies, thousands of people, every diet was some form of lowering the amount of food people were consuming. Forget calories. The human body doesn't even know what a calorie is, so let's discount that. And the problem is when you lower below a certain amount of nutrition in the body, it triggers in the brain starvation mode, which prevents you from burning fat and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's called catabolic metabolism. It slows down your metabolism and also interferes with your own immune system, let alone the pitiful results. All these studies are saying that basically people lose 16, 20, maybe 25 in 12 months. What's all about this 1 to 2 pounds a week you're going to lose in these diets? Initially, and the other thing that's so amazing about these studies, which were started like 6 years ago, it takes that long to get them published. The people in here have maintained whatever weight they've lost now for up to 6 years. In my case, 21 years, 40 pounds lost 21 years ago. I've maintained it for 21 years. I know the biggest thing here is it sounds too good to be true. I know that you're skeptical. But what's holding you back? We're giving you a free website to go to. You can see it there, right above my head, visit the new health conversation, just like it sounds. Why wouldn't you go unless you think somehow that I'm lying to you? And if you go there, we're going to call you, we're going to harass you. We don't have to do that. We're the only people on social media with peer-reviewed human trial studies. Tell your friends, scream it from the rooftops. I mean, you can do paleo, you can do keto, you can do Mediterranean, you can do Cornish, you can do the zone diet, you can do Atkins, you can do lose weight for your blood type, you can do Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Noom, Zoom, Golo, whatever. They don't have one shred of medical evidence. The medical evidence has been done, I think would completely discourage you from ever doing it in the first place if you knew that in advance. I mean, it's just like, when I look at this sometimes, it's like it's crazy. Every one of these 7 studies that were published in the biggest medical journals in the world, the doctors are shocked. And we get doctors on these podcasts all the time, and they stand for about 2 minutes and they get off. You can't be skeptical of a peer-reviewed human trial study. It's already been scrutinized or examined by the top medical doctors and researchers in the world. That's why you want to have a peer-reviewed study. That's why no drug would ever get approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. You'll hear these people say, we did a clinical study on mice and rats. Really? Doesn't count, sorry. Or a scientific paper, or a scientific study, or a scientific tested ingredient. That doesn't mean a damn thing. What we want to do is make you aware of what's available. And if we can, on these podcasts, if I get one person that I can make a difference in your life, then it's really worth it. And I couldn't be more serious about that. And granted, some of our podcasts, we've had, thousands of people, all right? But if you're on here today, it's important. You're here for a reason. And I would assume part of the reason is that you're curious. Again, are you tired of the diet merry-go-round? That's what it comes down to. We're accepting a less than lifestyle. That's one way to think about it. Isn't that just nuts, crazy, out of control? So again, I'd love for any of you to put in the chat a question for me. This is live, it's not pre-recorded. To see, or you'd like to see me answer any and all of your questions. Because we're in a position now where if 80% of Americans are overweight and 50% are obese and 50% are pre-diabetic, on these podcasts, a big percentage of people are in that boat. But what are you going to do about it? Hi, Luis. Hi, Sam. Welcome. I keep repeating it because I know we get new people all the time, but I want you to all understand what makes this so different. It's the only one. There's nothing else on social media with peer-reviewed human trial studies. Because the human trial studies that have been done on these diets, the results are, well, you consider, but they're essentially pitiful. And then, we have studies about like this. According to current research, intermittent fasting may not be the most effective way to lose weight and keep it off, as studies indicate that simply restricting calorie intake rather than just timing of meals is more crucial for sustaining weight loss. I mean, why are you doing these things that don't have any medical basis behind them when it comes to something as important as your own health? Because this is not about the weight loss. The weight loss is crazy. I mean, losing as much weight, men and women with no exercise in 7 days, as 8 weeks of any diet, lose as much weight in a month as a year on any diet. Not only do we give you a free website to go see the medical proof, you can sign up for a free consultation with one of our coaches. It's free. And if you decide to do it, they will be your coach the whole time through it. And by the way, 40% of the food you're going to buy. So basically, let's just call it a food plan and an execution. A food plan with a recipe. Maybe that's a good way to think about what do these researchers do? They figured out that our food is nutritionally bankrupt. So they limited the amount of food people did in these studies. So only 40% from the grocery store. They actually give you a grocery list of what they use in the studies. But the other 60% come from 5 foods from around the world. And those suppliers offer you, because you're not buying any of that from the researchers, you're not buying it from us, you're buying it directly from the suppliers. And those suppliers offer you 100% no questions asked money back guarantee in the first 30 days. Please put in the chat any diet that's doing that for you. Who is it? These trainers that are giving you recipes. And I see people that want to sell you 200 recipes, 600, 1,000 recipes. For what? Because the food, they don't get it. The best recipe you have is still really nutritionally lacking in the amount of nutrients we need to optimize at maximum, not good enough. I think if we've learned anything in the last 5 years, is good enough ever going to be good enough again? Based on what happened? Which was, do you know, sadly, a vast majority of people who died during COVID were obese, compromised immune systems. I mean, I hope we're waking up. I'm seeing the national, now they're starting to talk about, well, the food pyramid is wrong and the food companies, they're addicting. Yeah, they are. That's what's going on. But do you have a solution? I mean, honestly, I'd love for any of you to think about, what if you want to gain weight? Because we have athletes doing this. It's not a weight loss program. If you need to lose weight, it's out of control, crazy good. But for all of us, the main reason to do it is to help our own body, getting rid of the chemicals we're storing inside of our fat cells. I'll read to you from world-class experts what they're saying about these chemicals now that'll maybe enlighten you. The Endocrine Society, the largest organization of experts devoted to research on hormones and the clinical practice of endocrinology, reports that the rise in the incidence of obesity matches the rise in the use and distribution of industrialized chemicals. They give these chemicals a name. They call them obesogens. Listen to this, obesogens. Simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal system, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They enter our body from a variety of sources, from compounds in soy, artificial hormones fed to animals, plastics in food packaging, chemicals added to processed food, and pesticides sprayed on produce. They act in a variety of ways mimicking human hormones such as estrogen, blocking the action of other hormones such as testosterone, and essentially reprogramming us to gain weight. What are you doing about obesogens? Had you ever even heard of them before this podcast? Because no diet touches them. No diet does anything on this. In these studies where they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they proved this protocol was assisting the body in doing what? Removing the herbicides, the pesticides, the Scotchgard, the Teflon, and plastics which we're storing in our body. Did all of you see the thing on Starbucks coffee about 8 or 10 weeks ago? And I like Starbucks coffee, but in each cup, you're getting between 50 and 80,000 microplastics in every cup of coffee. That's not a good thing, because cumulatively. And yet, people, man, they got their seatbelts on that merry-go-round, around and around and around and around and around. And if you do get off now, if it's been a diet, you're going to need to get back on pretty fast, because you will have gained back more weight than you lost, according to these studies that are saying 2/3 of people who strict or count their calories gain back more weight than they lost. What part of that does that not hit home with any of you? Unless you just don't believe in science, I guess that's possible. Like, I've eaten the 3 slices of bread in one meal, but the calories are not high, so I lost weight. Okay, let's see. Lamb. So if you lose 100 pounds up to 40 pounds. Yeah, there's a good point. And I know that's a nutritional scientist right there. He comes on and visits a bunch of times. So Lamb, let me explain something to you, okay? The human body doesn't know what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories, okay? Only thing your body cares about is nutrition. I will promise you, Lamb, I have study after study after study. The weight you've lost there, like he said, 40% of it is lean muscle mass. You are doing something to your body you didn't know about that's unbelievably unhealthy, because the weight you're losing, forget the number on the scale. Let's look internally, inside our body. If you lost, and I'm not sure how much you lost, but he just used an example of 100. But let's even use 20 pounds. 20 pounds, 40% of it is 8 pounds of lean muscle. For you to understand, Lamb, to gain back 1 pound of lean muscle, if you go to the gym and you do everything right, according to the experts, it'll take you 12 months to regain 1 pound of lean muscle. So congratulations on the weight loss, but now, and I don't want to ruin your day, it's the most unhealthy thing you've done. And that's what all these diets are based on. And again, Lamb, we have people, I'm going to read to you right here. This is Harvard Medical School. Stop counting. This is Harvard Medical School, not me telling you this, right? Stop counting calories, which is what you're doing. Now listen, most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories, specifically 3,500, and you lose a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is actually really misguided. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. She goes on to say, drop the calories notion, said Stanford. It's time to take a different approach by concentrating on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. Okay? Now, Lamb, let's go to the second one. Why you shouldn't count calories. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse is 2/3 of people who try to counter restrict their calories gain back more weight than they lost. I hope that doesn't happen to you, but you're flying in the face of science. Yes, you probably had short-term results, but based on science, 40% of what you're losing is your lean muscle. Do you know how unhealthy that is? And please, I'm not trying to be disparaging. We're here to help you. We're saying, look, get off the damn merry-go-round, this weight loss nonsense of counting calories over and over and over. That's the mantra, bing, bing, bing. That's what everybody's saying. Doesn't work. Doesn't. We have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Third of our kids are pre-diabetic. Again, anybody please, in the chat, let me know. I'd love to get your opinion on a diet you think works. They don't. And then we have people like Johns Hopkins Medical School saying, I'm reading for you right from the study. Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030 in 5.5 years. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. That counting calories thing, it doesn't work. It makes me animated. And I don't want to disparage anybody. That's the last thing. We're here to help you. And, obviously you didn't know it. Yeah, true. I lost too much weight because what you were losing was your lean muscle mass, which really impacts you. What's so, I don't know what the right word to describe it is. The more medical proof I give you, it seems like the more skeptical people become. But what I want to explain to everyone is this, that when you have what are called peer-reviewed human trial medical studies, it's as high as we go in the world in medical investigation, in medical proof. No drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Not on mice, not on rats, not a scientific study. No, we have a clinical study. That doesn't mean anything. Unless it's done on human beings, it's completely discounted in the medical world. And I know because almost 22 years of doing this, for 20 of those years, despite I wrote 4 best-selling books, all with medical doctors. I did 1,500 lectures all over the world and universities and hospitals, and even went to China, for crying out loud. Did 20 shows on PBS. It meant zero in the medical world until these peer-reviewed human trial studies. Like, no doctor's going to prescribe a drug to you that hasn't gone through a peer-reviewed human trial study. And I understand sometimes they get it wrong, but we have to have some kind of standard. This is the highest standard. Why are none of these diet companies on their own ever commissioning peer-reviewed human trial studies? I mean, would you be excited? Listen to this. The Journal of the American Medical Association did a 12-month study. They looked at 48 different studies, 7,286 people in 12 months. And in those 48 studies, they listed every diet you could name, from paleo to keto to Mediterranean, intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, Cornish zone, Atkins, lose weight for your blood type, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Noom, Goom, whatever it was. After 12 months, when they looked at the most amount of weight loss on any diet to the least amount of weight loss on any diet, it was 10 ounces in a year. And they went on to say the average weight loss was about 16 pounds, and up to 40% of what people lost, no matter what the diet was lean muscle mass. And of course, they've all gained it all back now. There's no way we can have 80% of America overweight and 50% obese if diets work. Now, maybe you have your opinions. Maybe you like the influences you're watching. It's not, well, that paleo, keto, that sounds really good. It doesn't work. I'm so adamant about it because the medical proof is overwhelming. It'd be one thing if it was one study, like an intermittent fat, where you don't eat for 16 hours, you eat for 8. But it's study after study after study saying that, well, the one done in the journal, I mean, the 12-month study they did in the New England Journal of Medicine, they lost 12.6 pounds, to be clear, in a year, and 40% was lean muscle mass. This Annals of Internal Medicine study, it was a year-long study also, and what did they lose in this in a year? They lost, here it is. They lost in 12 months by doing time-restricted eating 10 pounds in a year. In a year. So, if you want to do, no, Faith, it's not supplement. Oh my God. No, Faith, let me explain it to all of you. The protocol is called R2M. It stands for race to maintenance. Now, Faith, with all due respect, I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you want to gain weight, do you want to lose weight, are you on any medical conditions, do you exercise, what have you tried before, etc. So let me clarify for everybody. Essentially, here's the simple version. The researchers for 38 years, 100 studies, thousands of people, every diet out there, what they concluded was that when they put people on diets, the main thing they were doing was reducing the amount of food they were consuming, the quantity. But what they also realized at the same time, they were also lowering what? The quantity of what? Nutrition, which is the only thing the body runs on. The problem also with most supplements, they're made in a laboratory, they're synthetic. Okay, they're very difficult for the body to, what's called it's called efficacy, it's the absorption, but that's a simple word, everybody get that. What the researchers did, which was completely different, they limited people only 40% of the food from the grocery store, no supplements, organic food. Now, here was the difference. They found 5 food sources, not supplements, that came from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, from Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, that had massive amounts of nutrition already occurring in the food. No supplements needed, natural for the body to process. For example, one of the food sources had all natural vitamins, not supplements, in the food itself. There's never been anything like this, and they didn't know if it was going to work. Now, here's the other cool thing for all of you. The researchers, they don't sell anything. They don't have a company. They don't have a store. What they did is they put together the food list that you would get to go to your grocery store, but the other 5 foods from these fulfillment companies or suppliers, like, we don't sell you anything. You buy directly from them. But the magic part of this was the recipe, which was based on 2 completely new principles. One is called protein pacing. On protein pacing, they had these 5 foods for breakfast. Lunch came from the list at the grocery store. Dinner came from the list at the grocery store. And then they had people have a 4th meal. What? 4th meal after dinner, not dessert, another meal. Then 2 days a week, they had them do something called intermittent nutritional fasting. What that is, they had them on those days, no food from the grocery store, and all 5 foods 4 times a day, spread out about every 2 or 3 hours. Now, why is this not supplements? Because again, like I said, so many of the supplements are basically synthetic. They're very difficult. They have some benefit, but nowhere near the benefits of. Now, what are some things that we're missing? Even if you today think you're going to go down and buy supplements, you're going to go to the get organic food. We need 70 what are called trace ionic minerals, not chelated minerals. I see people advertising that on TV. Chelated minerals, not even in the same zip code as a trace ionic mineral. As far as we know, there's only 2 deposits in the whole world that have all 70 of these trace ionic minerals. I'm not talking about magnesium. I'm talking about not chromium, magnesium. I'm talking about things like gold and silver and zinc and boron and molybdenum and selenium. We need 70. In the best organic you get 20. So it doesn't matter how much you eat. You're only getting 20. What about the other 50 that we need? The researchers found a source that had one of the supplies, all 70 minerals. What else are we deficient in that you can't get in a supplement? Well, you can get in a supplement in some form. I'll explain to you. Amino acids, maybe you've all heard the term. There are 9 essential amino acids. You have to get them from your diet, and the other 11 are non-essential. Now, you're being told, the big media buzz is, well, I have 120 grams of protein a day. That's completely useless information, by the way. The only thing your body cares about, it's true that the only way you get the 20 amino acids are in proteins from plants or animals. But remember, what are we talking about here? We're not talking about quantity. We're talking about quality, all right? So I'll give you an example. If you take a plant-based protein, and by the way, this is not my opinion. This was new research out of Europe where they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. When you ingest protein from plants or an animal, they'll tell you from 0 to 100 what percentage 0 to 100 are being absorbed in our body. Plant-based proteins are 10%. All meat, steak, chicken, liver, fish is 30%. They found a source of protein that had a 91% absorption. Let me put it in perspective. One serving with a third as much protein as, say, 2 steaks produce a higher level of amino acid absorption than 2 steaks. Now, today, I looked at it the other day, grass-fed, a pound of grass-fed steaks, about 25 to 27 bucks a pound. That world's most perfect meal, it's maybe $5 or $6. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? It's not even in the same zip code. But again, it's not based on quantity, it's based on quality. Because the whole key to this was, could we lower the amount of food people consume, but not lower the amount of nutrition? And we're not against supplements, but you don't need them if you're doing this, because what else does it have? It has something called adaptogens. They come from Manchuria and Mongolia. And what do? They massively lower what? Stress and inflammation in your body. And we have the medical proof to back it up. Inflammation went down 25% in 30 days. These supplements you take, they haven't even been tested. They give you anecdotal stuff. That's not the same as a medical test. And then the last thing was the food group that had these natural vitamins. So now you had 40% of the food from the grocery store, 60% from these 5 foods. And then what was the recipe, or what was the protocol? As I said, 5 days a week, they had them do protein pacing. So the point is, the whole key to this is what's so strange. I know the term R2M, race to maintenance. That gets you to the starting point. What? Yeah. The whole key to this, well, here's another example. Imagine going to the gym. You haven't been to the gym in months. You go, in the first few days you're sore. You go a few more days, and then a week, and you start to get in shape. But once you're in shape, do you stop and not go back to the gym? See, this is the mentality of all diets. I'm not picking on anybody here. A diet is always a destination. But then the problem is, okay, now I lost some. Now what do I do? Look, I lost 40 pounds 22 years ago. I've kept it off for 22 years. That's what's important. So once you get to your goal, then we teach you how to stay there. That's the only reason to do this. But the other thing you're not doing through supplements, etc., you're making no impact on the TDOS syndrome. You're doing nothing to remove toxins, toxicity, deficiency, overweight, and stress. I have it, you have it, every person in the world. So again, I'm not against the general concept of supplements, but if you go on this protocol, I had a conversation with a big time realtor this morning, a lady that now I've known. I've been working with her for like 15 to 16 months. When I met her, she was spending $3,000 a month on supplements. She'd seen like 20 different naturopaths. She hasn't taken those supplements now in 15 months, and she said to me today, I never thought I could even feel like this ever again. Because see, the problem is, it's not about the quantity of things you're consuming, it's about the absorbability. But again, if you're lacking, like if you don't have 70 minerals and you keep taking food with 20, you're always going to be short those 50 minerals. I hope I'm making sense. I know this is way out of the mainstream. It's way outside of the box that we've all been taught, including myself. But the point is, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters are these peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Plus, the people that supply those 5 foods from around the world, they give you a 30-day, 100%, no questions asked, money back guarantee. Nothing to do with us, because you're not buying it from us. You're buying it from them. We teach you how to do this, and that's free. The coaching's 100% free. What diet is showing, what supplement companies giving you 100% money back guarantee? I haven't seen one. We're so sure. Look, we know. So we've been doing this, let's say 22 years. We figure we've helped about 700,000 people in that time. You know how much weight? Well, we just made a rough guesstimate. We feel that they've lost about 14 million pounds because this is so dramatic. Men and women, they're losing as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of a diet. So you don't think that would incentivize you to continue? They lose as much weight in a month as a year on diets. So the numbers are astronomical per person. What they're losing is insane, let alone the way they feel. It's about energy, lowering stress, sleeping better at night. But lowering inflammation is one of the biggest reasons to do this. Inflammation, according to the medical community, the underlying cause of every disease out there. No diet has ever produced a result like these results. These are the top weight loss. You can see our interview with the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world on our website for free. You can see the website right there, well above my head, the New Health Conversation. And if you go there, we're not going to contact you. We don't do that. We're not trickery. We're not into any of that nonsense. We show you upfront. This is what they did, how they did it, why medically it's so safe. There are before and after pictures that if I showed them on here, I'd be banned. I'm not kidding you. There are men and women on there lost 100 pounds. They have no loose skin. Go see for yourself. It's free to go there. There's no obligation, nothing. See, we feel that if you believe in science, we shouldn't have to sell you or convince you about anything. Unless you really like staying on that diet merry-go-round and go round and round and round. Oh, it'll stop. You'll get off for maybe for a little while. Then you gain all the weight back, and then you're trying to get back on another merry-go-round. But when we have study after study after study after study after study showing that all diets you lose weight, but every diet you're losing up to 40% of your lean muscle, you're slowing down your metabolism, you gain all the weight back, and you're also interfering with your own immune system. So, no, so Faith, I hope, I know that was a long-winded, okay, Faith, I need to lose weight. So Faith, the best thing you can do for yourself is to go to the web. Now, Faith, let me show you so you don't think I'm making up. Here is the website. There's nothing to buy on the website, only the medical proof. But if you scroll down after you get to see all the medical proof, it says sign up for a free personal consultation, which you can do. But Faith, let me ask you this. How excited would you be if you could lose as much weight in 4 days as a month of any diet you've ever been on? How about in the first week, Faith, shrinking a whole dress size? I always tell, I tell everybody, mostly I tell women this. I say, the most expensive part of this? They go, what? I said, it's the new wardrobe you're going to have to buy. I mean, we got people going from like, I guess go to the website and see. You've never seen anything like this. Nothing's Photoshopped, nothing's fake. It's all real. We're researchers. We only give you real scientific proof. So, oh, good, Faith. I'm glad. And Faith, understand the website. I need to lose at least 60 pounds. Good. You will. I promise, Faith, you won't be disappointed. Okay. We have people. So I would say, Faith, honestly, in support of you, that probably that's close to the average of people, especially women, that, somewhere between, I'd say 40 and 80 and 100. We got some that need to lose 150 pounds. I mean, this thing is completely out of control. And so, Faith, how long, assuming you're not on this podcast, you don't know crazy me, okay? But how long would you, if you were on any diet to lose that 60 pounds, how long would you give yourself to do it, to think that that would be successful for you, to lose the 60 pounds? I'm just really curious. Please put it in the chat. Hello, Spider and Luke. A year. Okay, Faith. I'll tell you this right now. With no exercise, my anticipation for you would be in the first 4 days, you'll probably lose 6 or 8 pounds. You'll probably lose in the first month between 20 and 30 pounds in the first month. 60 pounds easily within 3 months with no exercise. Now are you excited? Now look, I know you're all skeptical when I say that. I'm reluctant even to say it. But go to the website and look at the transformations in 30 days. The time frames are there, but it's not just their weight loss. Look at their A1C and their blood pressure and their blood sugar and their cholesterol, their triglycerides. So Faith, how much would that excite you? And Faith, how about if you lost a whole dress size in 7 days with no exercise? Exactly, sounds great. So Luke or Spider or Sam, any of you, would you like to, this is live. You're welcome to ask me any questions. The main thing is, anybody on here, are you tired of being on that diet merry-go-round? And would you like, how about getting off now? Because you have a chance. You can go to the website above my head, the New Health Conversation right there, and you can see the medical studies. And if you like what, because we won't, everybody, we're not going to contact you if you go to the website. There's no way. We don't need to. We rely on the medical evidence. Do you think you deserve to have access to this life-changing, world-changing, these studies now? These researchers who did this, they're getting calls from all over the world, from Harvard Medical School and Stanford and Berkeley and Oxford and England, and saying, look, you guys, you've made every single diet obsolete. Like Harvard Medical School, that was kind of what they were saying, that the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong. It says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School, dropped the calories notion, says Stanford. It's time to take a different approach by putting emphasis on what's in the food, not how much food you're consuming. Any of you, okay, the website, I'm going to give it to you right now. Hold on just a second. Not only is it in the chat, but look above my head. If you can see my poster, see it there, visit the New Health Conversation. So Gail, can you see that there? But I also put it in the chat for you. Did I? I'm sorry. Let me put it right above your comment. Sometimes it takes a while for this. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I put it in there twice for you. So either Gail, you can either, and no spaces, and see that you can see it above my head there. I hope. So Gail, do you have any desires, goals? Like, do you want to lose weight, and what have you tried, or how long would you say if you have a weight loss goal, how long would you think it would take you to lose that weight? Just like I was, addressing faith before. I mean, it's crazy. This is so far out of the norm. That's why people, they do struggle with it. And I promise you, Gail, if you go to the website, we won't contact you. So don't think you're going to go there and you're going to get a phone call from us. That's not what we do. We give you feel better. Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's interesting you said that, Gail, because I would say most people, now can you imagine, Gail or Faith or anybody, on the fifth morning when people stand on the scale, I'm not making this up, they often call us and say, my scale broke. But let's assume you get over the shock of the weight loss, which is unbelievable. But do you know what the number one thing people say to us after just 4 days? I can't believe the way I feel. Because this is not a diet. It's about increasing your energy, lowering mental fog, sleeping better at night, getting rid of those little aches and pains, because inflammation is the underlying cause of all those, and it went down 25% in a month. I mean, the fun thing that I always tell everybody is, you get to go shopping again because you're going to, and they always say, no, I can go shopping in my own closet. So I don't know about, but it's really, I know it's too hard to be true. Because I'm telling you, we get thousands of people on these podcasts collectively. And I'm always amazed at the few people that take the opportunity to go to a free medical website, see the medical proof for themselves without being harassed, without celebrity endorsements, without anything to buy. Like, I don't sell my books on those websites. I don't want you to buy my books. You can see if I move my head, I guess on the right, oh, there we go. You can see my 4 best-selling books. That's not the point. The point is that the website really has replaced the books in the sense that we can give you the latest and greatest information. I'll give you an example. I'm holding in my hand Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. This study had nothing to do with weight loss. It had completely to do with our gut, called our microbiome, which is our internal immune system, or most of it. Also, your gut is what determines all of your emotions, okay? So talk about feeling better, in your case, Gail. Yeah, I've tried so many diets before. Gail, it's not a diet. But in this study, just to let you know, okay, this study in Nature Communications, in 30 days, they saw a 25% increase in what's called the biodiversity in the gut. It's a fancy word for the different kinds of microbes, bacteria, et cetera, okay? Think of it, if you planted a garden, you don't just want tomatoes and beans and maybe corn and radishes, whatever. It makes it work better. They saw a 25% increase in 30 days. In 8 weeks, people with some severe digestive issues, gone. That's why this isn't a diet. It's almost like we joke and say the weight loss, yeah, that's like, but again, people get crazy about it because I'm telling you, on the fifth morning, so many people absolutely think. I just had a major medical oncologist doctor in California that I've known for 14 years, who, by the way, would never look at this until these peer-reviewed studies came out about a year ago. She called me up on the fifth, her and her husband were doing it. Her husband needed to lose about 40 or 50 pounds. She literally called me up on the fifth morning and she said, we're at the hospital. The first thing I panicked, oh my God, because I've been, I wanted her for a long, long time, right? To join what we're doing. And she said, no, we're at the hospital because we weighed my husband at home. We thought our scale was broken, so we came in to do the medical scale. You see, because he lost, in 4 days, he needed to lose about 40 pounds. In 4 days, he lost 10 pounds. Well, she'd never seen anything like that in all her medical training. We're just kind of used to it. That just happens over and over. But the big thing with him, he went from an extra large shirt. He was wearing an extra large. 20 days later, he was in a medium. Well, again, I told you most men, they lose in 4, sometimes 6. He lost probably, I think, 4 or 5 inches in his waist in about 20 days or something like that. It was remarkable. But we see that all the time. That's why the main reason to do this is not to lose weight. What good is it to lose the weight and then have all the loose skin? That's why if you go to the website and see the before and afters, you'll see people lost 100 pounds, men and women, no loose skin. I know it's hard to believe, but that's why we give you the medical proof to go and see for free. There's no gimmicks. So, well, that's why, again, we'd want you to do I'll give you some free advice right now if you're dealing with constipation. Absolutely the best. I don't sell it. I have nothing to do with it. So I'm arm's length. But you want to go and get something called magnesium citrate. It's a liquid. It's very inexpensive. Because I work with a lot of gastroenterologists. That's what they told me is the absolute best thing that they recommend for constipation. Whether you call us or this free advice, I give people lots of free advice. And obviously I don't sell it. I mean, I don't even know who the manufacturer is, but it's magnesium citrate, citrate. It's a natural, it's not a laxative. It doesn't work like that. But it's, in 22 years, we've seen a lot of people, it's a pretty common thing, unfortunately, that constipation has really become a huge problem for many, many people, partly because there's not enough fiber in our diets. By the way, I should tell you, in the World's Most Perfect Food, there's like 8 grams of what's called prebiotic fiber. Not that we're against probiotics, but prebiotic, what it does, why it's so much more effective for the colon and all that, it absolutely colonizes, makes more of the good bacteria that you want, that also helps with the functionality of our colon system, et cetera. So anyway, that's some free advice for you, Gail. Need help with my gut microbiome. Okay, well, can I brag a little bit for all of you? Don't get mad at me. It's kind of like my dad always told me, it ain't bragging if you can back it up. So we wrote the definitive book on the microbiome called Your Third Brain. I don't want any of you to buy it. Don't think that's why I'm doing. And I wrote it, you can see here, I know you can't really see him in the white coat. He's considered probably the world's #1 oncologist, and he's a molecular biologist, and he worked with 2 men who won the Nobel Prize in Medicine, and he's published over, to give you a perspective, most medical doctors or researchers, they want to get published in these big medical journals, and they'll do 25, 30, maybe 40 papers in a career. He's already published 237 papers in the biggest medical journals in the world. 2 of his papers are in the top 10% of all medical papers ever published in history. That's why I say I'm not the expert, but I became an expert on the experts. And essentially what the book was about, just to let you know, Gail, it was totally about the third brain being the microbiome. And one of the things that, this has nothing to do with the study that was published, other than that the study was on what we talked about in the book, right? So the thing that makes us different and unique, and why we give people not false hope, but we always say we're always guardedly optimistic. But I would say, Gail, that's one of the things that probably we see across the board. People's gut health improves. Well, we have the medical proof. I mean, their gut health completely turned around in 8 weeks. And these were colitis, Crohn's, irritable bowel, acid reflux, all these times. And I'm not making any medical, we're not curing, treating. I'm just telling you what they did in the medical study where the medical proof is there. So it's not a claim. It's not a claim if you have a medical study to back it up. That's the difference between all of this, So you see all these people and they're making all these claims. I see them on, this intermittent fasting. We don't eat for 16 hours, eat for 8, saying, oh, the majority of what you lose is fat. Really? How about the let's take a look for a moment here at the Journal of the American Medical Association. They did a 3-month study on intermittent fasting, and they said the research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily, eating all their meals between noon and 8, popularly known as the 16-8 diet, gained almost no benefit from it. And over the course of 3 months, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds, and the most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. Do you see the misinformation? And I think maybe he believes it, that he's telling you that. But the medical proof is the opposite. I mean, again, you can all do whatever you want to do. We're here to help you, or those that want to be helped. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm hoping, Gail, would you like to get off the merry-go-round like now, or do you want to stay on that merry-go-round? You told me right there, you've tried so many things, so many diets, none of them have ever worked. Wow. So one of the people was already, oh, Spider Moon. The studies are on Spider Moon. Let me put it up there. Go to the website above my head. You can see it there, the New Health Conversation, or I'll also post it in the chat. You can see all the medical studies. They're there. They're published. Yeah, I want to get off. Oh my gosh, Faith, this could really, really help you. But again, Faith, that's why we do personal consultations with people, because then we know if that's the case, we know we've dealt with many, many people that have had that before. And so your protocol might be a little different than someone, let's say, that wants to just lose weight, or someone that has high blood pressure. Do you see? So that's why we offer for all of you free consultations. I know many of these influences you just want to go there and click a button, but it doesn't work. That's the point. Einstein said one of the most complicated things to do, well, he was talking about physics, was to take something unbelievably complicated and make it simple. Well, in essence, yeah, I didn't even show all of you that. If you do it, all of you, this is called the Blueprint of Success, which really that's what they did in the medical trials, but we go one step farther for you. All the yellows here are, they're actually videos with these world-class researchers telling you, look, this is not a diet, this is why it's safe. They even have a calendar that follows you each day. You click on it, and it's a 10 or 12-minute tutorial from the top weight loss, nutrition, and physiologists in the world who conducted the studies and are just mirroring what they did in the studies. That's all free, because 50% of this is what you're going to consume, but the other 50%, let's call it the recipe, is how you consume it. Look at the results, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, safe loss in 30 days, taken a month, well, actually it took a year on diets, proven in 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Men and women really, I'm telling you, they're losing as much weight in 4 days as in a month of a diet. In a week, they lost as much weight in 8 weeks. They lost as much weight in a month as a year in any diet. Like it was, I think it was Faith that said you wanted to lose 60 pounds, it would take a year. If we took more than 3 months, then we did something wrong. Then probably the coach, we're going to have a discussion with me. Now, I'm being serious. It's just, here's what I would say to all of you. Just because it's never been invented doesn't mean it wasn't possible. Look at the things we accept now, that if you went back 30, 40 years, the internet, email, GPS, I still don't know how that thing works. Well, I kind of do, but do they have a camera on top of my car? There's a cop. So why would you? I understand why. Because like everybody comes on, like somebody was Faith or what, saying, I've tried everything. I've been on all the diets. This is not a diet, everybody. This is not a diet. Does everybody get that loud and clear? Boom, 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 big megaphone. This is not a diet. Yeah, Gail. I mean, I understand that so many of you, whether it's Spider or Dion, Sam, please, I'm not, we want to help you. I want to encourage you, that'd be a good word, maybe inspire you to go to the website. It's totally free. We won't contact you, I promise. Because if people would come on social media and say, he lied, I went to the website and they harassed me. We don't need to do that. You see all this fancy stuff on social media. They're writing on whiteboards and they don't have any proof. It's nonsense. And why would I say that? Well, anybody. Okay, so if we want to have, just you can do yes or no. If we just look at the evidence, 80% of Americans are overweight, 50% are obese, 50% are pre-diabetic, 33% of our kids are pre-diabetic. And then one last thing, this big study that came out. Here it is. Again, you can yes or no to my question. Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030, where they're saying 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese by 2030. Yes, diets work, or no, diets don't. I'd love for any of you just to put it in the chat. I mean, seriously, do you see what's going on here? It's as if, I use this analogy a lot sometimes, but you know, the tragedy of the Titanic was that a lot of the lifeboats weren't even full. People stayed on deck because they thought it's not going to sink. That's what they were told. Didn't turn out too well, did it? So, I mean, that's kind of where we are now. You listen, we're not, let me be clear. We're not here to disparage any of these social media people. We're not here to, you know, in any way judge. Whatever you want to do, you go ahead and do it, including comments. Yeah, the diets work for a while. I couldn't agree with you more. But obviously, in the long run, Gail, they're a complete and abject failure, as you've proven for yourself. We don't give judgment, everybody. And for some of you coming on late, okay, I'm going to repeat the story one more time. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin, and I certainly never knew her healthy. And I loved her. She was awesome. I lived through fat shaming, the little kids whispering, and it's the most horrible thing ever. So I want you to understand, we're 1,000,000% on your side. Your current situation is only because you have the wrong approach. You have the wrong tool. It's not you. It's the protocol that we've all been told about. Do you know they've been counting calories for like 300 years? And yet each year, especially in this country, now it's worldwide. To give you an idea, the Lancet, one of the biggest medical journals in the world, they did a study. It was published in March of 2024, about 7 months ago. They now predict 1 billion people worldwide are clinically obese. Not overweight, clinically obese. And they went on to say, making obesity the leading form of malnutrition in the world. And they said, because people don't understand that being underweight or being obese are both forms of what? Malnutrition. Because we're not getting the right amount of vitamins, minerals, nutrients necessary to have us work at optimum levels. So people are eating and eating and eating. They're not hungry for calories. They're hungry for nutrition. Our food in this country is becoming all but nutritionally bankrupt of nutrition. It doesn't matter how much you eat. Your body goes, I'm hungry. Feed me, feed me, feed me. You think it's more calories. No, it's more nutrition. That's what these researchers proved. These are the top people in the world for 38 years. They chased the silver bullet for obesity and they found it. But what they didn't anticipate was all the other benefits. Like I said, the Nature Communications, this gut microbiome remodeling and metabolic profile improves drastically in 4 and in 8 weeks. They didn't anticipate that. You have to understand, when these researchers started, it was a theory. But they knew what didn't work. See, that was the thing. Did you all hear the story about Thomas Edison as I look up at the lights? 3,000 experiments, he failed. That's what they told him. He said, no, no, no. I just figured out 3,000 ways not to invent the light bulb. I mean, honestly, guess where you can find the diet merry-go-round? Go to Barnes and Noble. It's huge merry-go-round. Go and look at how many diets there are. And I come back to that same question. If 80% of Americans are overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic, a third of our kids pre-diabetic, that's probably not a merry-go-round I want to get on. You're welcome to do it. Maybe you're on it now. But wouldn't you like to get off? Somebody came up with this and they said, you know why people love hitting themselves in the head with a hammer so much? Because it feels so great when they stop. That's what we're doing. But here's what you're doing when you get off the merry-go-round, you lose weight, you gain it all back, you go and get a bigger hammer. It's as if you're taking, you take a round hole and you take a square peg and they're just giving you a bigger hammer. I mean, I do this all the time. In 22 years, we've helped over 700,000 people. And they've lost about 12 or 14 million pounds. They all tell us. We tried, many of them say, I gave up. I gave up hope. I just said, okay, I guess I'm destined. This is it. Thinking there was something wrong with them. There was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with my mom. My God, my mom did every diet out there. She would cut diets out of the National Enquirer. I believe she dieted herself to death. I miss her. But it's why I became a researcher, why I'm doing this, why I put up with, the people that come on and want to take me on for whatever reason. Because we only rely on medical proof. None of it's my opinion. I clearly say right there, I'm the researcher of the researcher. Oh my gosh, Gail. Okay, so Gail, another thing. Let me tell you about diabetics. Are you on any medication, Gail, like metformin, glucophage, Ozempic, insulin, whatever? So, Gail, you probably know this, but for the rest of you in the studies, they had diabetics. By the way, this protocol was invented by a diabetic 25 years ago. Or the early versions, it's evolved over the course of 25 years. So that's first thing I want to tell you, Gail. But listen to what happened in the studies. Now, the people that were diabetics had their medical doctors monitoring them, not the researchers. Because again, we're not curing, treating, diagnosing, making any medical claims whatsoever. So they wanted their medical doctors to make the calls on the diabetics. Because thank God we have these diabetic medications like for you, Gail. Okay, metformin and Ozempic. Okay. So Gail, you know how the drugs work. They drive down your blood sugar. Okay, you don't have to answer. I know you know that's true. But I don't know if you knew this, Gail, or everybody else knew it. When you drive down with medication, the other thing you do, the other effect, it increases insulin. And when you increase insulin, what your body does, it stores fat. That's why Gail or anybody else that's a diabetic has such a terrible time losing weight. Gail, wait till you hear this. In 30 days, the diabetics in the studies saw their blood sugar come down by 10 points, not 10%, 10 points. But for the first time ever, Gail, insulin came down 41%. Do you know with the doctor's help, and you'd have to do the same thing, Gail, again, that's why you do a personal consultation. That's why you have a free coach to guide you on this. I mean, we want you to check, especially for diabetes, we want you to check your blood sugar 3 times a day. Why? Because on the studies, after 30 days, most of the diabetics with their doctor's help cut their meds by 50% in 30 days. Gail, would that excite you? But a big part of that is when you lose weight, all your doctors will tell you that your need for high blood pressure, you still need it, but it goes down. I mean, we see this all the time. That's why I keep saying the reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's a given. That's a throw in. Don't do it to lose weight. Do it. Your number one reason is to combat the TDOS syndrome, toxicity, deficiency, overweight, and stress. We're breathing, drinking, eating chemicals in our food that the body stores in our fat cells. No diet gets rid of it. These researchers, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proved this was assisting the body in doing what? Removing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and plastics from the body. That should excite all of you. Now the bonus is weight loss 12 times faster than any diet without the loss of water, and instead of losing lean muscle, gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. And see, as soon as I say that, I know people go crazy and they go skeptical on me. I know. But should I not share the medical proof with you? Should we not show you the peer-reviewed human trial medical studies, the only ones in the world on a weight loss protocol after 38 years of researching every diet out there? I'll take my chances on science. I love science because it doesn't have any emotions, unlike me. It has no prejudice. It has no agenda. It just is. So we want you to see the medical proof first. Don't waste your time setting up a free personal consultation. See the medical proof first. And you'll see, Gail, I'm going to finish. Let's see, I've been an hour and 30 minutes. Gail, I would say, just wait till I conclude in case something else comes up that I may say that's valuable. But you're gonna learn so much on that website. And just to let any of you know, if you do sign up, we normally get back to you within. Well, we're pretty busy right now, but we'll probably. What time is it? It's 4:00 Eastern. Yeah, we'll probably, if we don't get back to you today, we get back to you by tomorrow, because it just depends on how many people are on here and how many people want to have information. But again, Gail, you're clear. You can see the website above my head, the New Health Conversation, like it sounds, and you do it. Just type that in on Google, and it'll go there, and then look at all the medical proof and scroll down. It says sign up for a free personal consultation. So I just want to see, does anybody else, Spider Moon or Dion or Faith, does anybody else have any questions for me before I shut this down in another 4 or 5 minutes? I'm going to do, just to let you know, in case any of you came on late, I'm probably going to do another one. So it's 4:30. I'll probably do one around 5:30, 6 o'clock Eastern time, my last one of the day. But if you have friends, etc., invite them to come to the New Health Conversation. That's my TikTok site. If you like it, you can go there as well, okay? So, any last questions for anybody? Because like I said, I'm just detox information. Okay, so Spider Moon. Effectively, this is for all of you. So Gail, you probably want to hear this too. When Spider Moon, when you went to sleep last night, when I went to sleep, and we all went to sleep, as long as we didn't eat too late, what happens when you go to sleep, the body first, it basically slows down or all but shuts down digestion. When that happens, the body automatically turns on a natural, think of it like a machine, a detox mechanism, that's probably a better word, inside our body. And it creates a process called autophagy. Now, what's autophagy? It's a fancy word for detoxification. But basically what the body doing, it's getting rid of the dead cells and any of the debris, but not the toxins. Let's be clear, not the toxins, okay? And so what the researchers did, 5 days a week, you do this protein pacing where you consume breakfast is these 5 foods that come from around the world, not from your grocery store. Lunch, your food comes from the grocery store. Dinner, your food from the grocery store, and then a 4th meal on your protein pacing days. Now, here's the key to detox. On 2 days a week for 48 hours in a row, you do something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Keep that in mind. Nutritional fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, you only consume 5 of the foods that come from around the world, but they have so little mass to them, quantity, that although you haven't shut it down totally as far as digestion, enough to turn that mechanism on while we're awake. Now, how can I say that? Because they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis where they measured after someone did, the 48 hours, which they would do continuously once a week until they got to their goal. They proved that this was helping the body. It's the body that's doing it. So it upregulated, it increased the efficacy, the efficiency of the detox mechanism when people were awake. And they proved and saw, so they saw herbicides and pesticides and Scotch gutter and Teflon, even plastics coming out of the body on these 48-hour detox. So that's a simple version of trying to explain it to you. But again, Spider, that's another reason why we encourage people to go to the website, see the medical proof, then sign up with one of our coaches, and they can explain it in more detail to you. And it really varies. I mean, the thing is that there's a new term now, it's called normal weight obesity, which means that just because you're thin on the outside doesn't have anything to do with the way you look on the inside. And they're referring to the amount of fat, the visceral fat, the fat around the organs, to the amount of lean muscle. So even if you're thin, you can technically be called obese based on the amount of fat you have, even though it doesn't show up on the outside. You might even have a flat stomach, but that has nothing to do with the fat that's actually encapsulated around your, not encapsulated, but wrapped around your internal organs. So again, Spider Moon 7, I would really encourage you to go to the website. But this is why we do free personal consultation. This isn't some diet where we're gonna give you a list of recipes. No, it's way more complicated than that, especially when you're dealing with detox, because none of these diets have any impact on detox. Never been measured, never been shown at all. So yes, you can absolutely go to the website. But the most important thing, Spider Moon, once you get a chance, and Spider, if you didn't see the website, let me show it to you real quick for everybody. There's nothing to buy on that website. So the most important thing is probably one, it's an interview with the #1 researcher in the world, then an explanation in more detail about what they did, then the actual research studies themselves, and then before and after pictures, but those aren't about weight loss as much as they are about the medical improvement in people. Once you've done that, Spider, then I really encourage everybody, it's free, set up a free personal consultation with one of our coaches, and there's a place to put comments, so you might want to put in there, I'm interested in detox, whatever, so then we can direct you to someone that maybe they've had more experience in that area. We have medical doctors, we have PAs, we've got registered nurses, we've got, but no one of the coaches has not done the protocol, and they've had to have coached and been supervised with at least 100, some of them thousands of people over the course, of 22 years. So it's really exciting, and I hope all of you, I hope you've learned something, I hope you're inspired, and I hope you will go to the website for your benefit, because we're not going to contact you, okay? So I'm going to sign off. For this podcast. I'm going to go run a few errands, and then like I said, I'll probably do another one around 5:30 or 6 today. But I hope it's been helpful to everybody. I wish you nothing but great health, Spider, Dion, Faith, all of you, Gail, and lots of other people. So I wish you all. And whenever I do this, it's funny, because I don't know whether I should say good afternoon, good evening, good morning, because this is going all over the world. I know we have people in Japan, we have people in Australia, we got people in Europe. So let me just say adieu, okay? So all of you, have a wonderful rest of your day, okay?